So how parenting actually affects a personality?
A lot,
Mhm.
a major role as well, I would say, that parents are the first teachers that we have. All of us have a parenting trauma. No parents have been ever perfect. Most of them tried their best to give their bringing. So, what all of us become eventually is a traumatic experience from what parents we get.
And why some people are so harsh on themselves? How does practicing this CBT or REBT actually helps? The podcast will begin shortly, and while watching, if you enjoy the conversation at any moment, then please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much. So welcome once again, Nehal.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Advait. Really glad to be here.
And I'm so happy the way people have responded to the reels
Yes,
that we
I'm
have
very
put.
happy.
That shows, of course, that they are liking such content.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for being there. And
Pleasure is mine.
no, really. So yes, so today we are going to talk about criticism.
Yes.
And so my first question is, what makes people criticize others constantly?
Right. So, see, criticism, when it comes about others, it's not actually about others. It's more about the person who is criticizing. When they come from an unhealed history where, their needs have not been met, they've had a childhood where there has been a lot of judgments, or where, they have had their emotional lack of safety, those things. When a criticizer himself has suffered that kind of an environment, or if they would want a control, so it comes from that background. So it is rarely about the person he is actually judging or criticizing. It is more about what he himself has suffered or he would want.
Okay.
So
And is criticism a personality trait or a learned behavior?
um constant criticism is not a personality trait, it's an emotional habit. When somebody is constantly criticizing somebody, that is probably his childhood. He has been around some role models whose coping method is judging somebody, or where he has not seen validation or approval of anything when he's seeking something. So constant criticism is a learned habit usually.
Mhm. And why do some people, take criticism so personally and others do not even bother?
Yeah. So some personalities absorbs criticism very deeply. That is because when their self-worth is so fragile, when they have gone through something and their self-worth is so fragile, and at that time somebody tries to give a feedback, they feel as a threat. So they feel it too much coming to themselves, and that is the reason they absorb that criticism more than what is required. So it is not the oversensitivity, it is more of the unhealed history that they've chosen, or they've had it inheritary, something that they've not wanted in their life, but they've had it because of the background.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And how childhood, shape our relationship with criticism?
I would say childhood is our first classroom where we deal with criticism. If a child has been encouraged, they would take a feedback as more of their growth. They would see that the feedback is guiding growth for them, whereas criticism is more about getting the doubts. They get more doubt, they become that version of themselves where the criticism makes them more doubtful, more inconfident, more anxious. So it's basically, if I may give an example, it's like a GPS. So feedback is a kind of a GPS who is guiding us through the journey.
Mhm.
Whereas criticism is that driver who is sitting in the back seat,
Mhm.
who is probably guiding you but
Mhm.
not even driving.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And why some people are so harsh on themselves?
Some people are finding themselves very harsh when they criticize themselves, is because their inner world, inner self, during along the lines when they have been growing up, they feel that love is to be earned, it's not given. So what happens is they try to be perfect, and they think perfection can buy them safety, which is why they try to do everything possible. Now, when that is not met, or they're being very hard, this is the reason they become very harsh. But realistically, it is when they think the world is becoming very harsh on me, but that inner voice is a wrong voice actually. It is half of what world is doing to you than the story you're narrating to yourself. So that is why they think things are becoming harsh to them.
Okay. And how can someone identify their own critic?
You need to first identify if the language that you're talking to yourself is a negative language or a positive language. So what does that mean is, when an inner critic is speaking something which you would not speak to your loved ones, then that is a very first way of identification that you are your inner critic. It is very loud, it is your first voice, and you're not compassionate at all when you're talking to yourself. So that's the way you can identify that this is your inner critic.
And what are some long-term effect on the mind if a person is continuously criticizing or being criticized?
Yeah, so criticism shrinks the confidence and fuels the anxiety, and eventually the person can become very, very quiet or become rebel. Their validation requirement would increase. They might not have their self-worth. They might not feel required. It's like the story that they would tell themselves or the way they will speak to themselves would not even align. So I think that is what the criticism would bring eventually as a long-term effect.
Yeah, so how can someone replace self-criticism with self-compassion?
By not judging yourself, whatever you've been fed, whatever you've understood, whatever you felt your self-worth, if that does not has a self-compassion, if you were given a responsibility of a person, or you would talk to your loved ones, would you talk the same way to them? So if not, then that shows that you are not being compassionate to yourself either. So if the whole idea that you have about yourself is very negative, then you need to change that narrative and show a little compassion towards your own self. So that's the way you can replace the thought.
Okay. And of course, I'm sure that self-criticism is not at all useful.
Yeah.
But is it the case always, or even a short or simple self-criticism can
Right.
inspire you or something like that?
Right. So criticism momentary can help. So it's like if you want to wake up, you put an alarm, right? So alarm can wake you up. But if it is for a long term, it is like a sound, something that is harmful. So to tell yourself that, oh, I can do this better, that is fine, it's a criticism. But if it is for long term, that I can never do good enough, that is harmful. So you have to change how you see criticism. If it is very long, prolonging, then it's damaging.
Yes, so of course in marriage, partners love each other, but why do they criticize each other?
So when an emotional needs are not met, or it's not been conveyed or communicated to the partner, so it's more about the other partner who is looking for, so love is there, but that partner is looking for something that he or she is expecting. So maybe she wants to be heard, or he wants to be heard. They want to be seen. They want probably to be feel or be there, or they require some time, any sort of requirement that they have, which is never conveyed. And when it is not conveyed, it becomes to the level of judgment. And that is conveyed in a very harsh way, in a criticizing form. When that happens, the other person pushes away. Because it's been conveyed, and the brain takes it as a threat that because you're conveying, and the other person's ego is getting hurt. So it is very important that we should replace blame to the solution, not just speak what you want. So I think this is, or maybe it can be conveyed in a way that I would function better if we talk respectfully. So when it is we, so there are certain ways how you speak to, how you convey to the person,
Mhm.
and that can save a lot of issues.
Mhm. So if we go a little bit in detail about
Yeah.
how to convey that dissatisfaction in the relationship, so that it doesn't go into that criticism.
Right. So see, firstly, you have to pause when there is somebody who's criticizing. You do not need to reply to defend. You reply to solve the problem. So the intention is very different here. If the other person is coming with a lot of force, a lot of criticism, understand where that person is coming and what is the actual requirement. We always have to remember one thing, that we have to replace reaction to the response, regulation to reaction. So जैसे पंखा होता है, अगर 3 पे पंखा चल रहा है and तुमको ठंड लग रही है, तो you cannot go on 5 and you can't move the regulator on 5. You have to move it on 1. So you have to regulate your emotions, your reactions into respond, while you know that the other person is already triggered or he's saying something which is going to create a conflict. So when you do that, it changes to the whole narrative, changes to the solution. It doesn't become a blame game. So that is how it affects.
Right. So what are some emotional needs that actually hide behind criticism?
See, behind this criticism sits a lot of unhealed version where a person has not been valued, not been respected, not been seen, not been heard, where the self pressure has been thought as a self worth. So the self worth is very fragile here, and which is why behind it hides, and it's still not out there.
Okay, so in the professional world, how can employee be safe from a boss who is always critical?
It is very important to not focus on the tone when the boss is talking. You see what is your goal, what is being asked. Keep your task handy. Understand where the boss is coming from. Sometimes you have to see what is more required in your professional life. So you can maybe speak to him that I would appreciate if I would appreciate a feedback, but if it is more precise, more specific, I'll understand it better. So this is drawing your boundaries, keeping your values. At the same time, you're conveying that I would prefer it this way. So it would help in this direction if you just don't go by the tone, you don't go by the sting that is coming.
So what is the best way to give constructive feedback?
Right, it's a good question. See, to give a constructive feedback, it is very important your intention, firstly. Second, you need to show the right direction. You do not need to repetitively enforce that. And second is map it correctly. If you are putting it forward, it has to go correctly. It cannot, so the feedback will only turn into criticism if it is overly done or the tone and the surrounding emotions are enforced.
Okay. And how can an organization, go from a criticism culture to a growth culture?
See, most importantly, how is been employers treated? That is very important. How the management is taking the whole role, that is important. More important, that every individual's dignity, every individual's personality has to be considered when you're working as a unit. So that is the first way forward for the growth.
So how does a personality become like a criticizer?
See, it begins from the childhood. That's your first beginning. How a parent has treated the child, what environment does the child come from, what has he chosen in his life in terms of friends, in terms of role models, what has he absorbed out of all of it. Criticism actually drains a complete confidence out of a child. When there is an encouragement, it's very different. The child blossoms. The child learns that how to grow. They take the positive side of whatever information is fed through the feedback. The criticism, as soon as that enters, the creativity, the productivity, the innovations that the child could explore, the molding of the mind, everything changes, because then it becomes a threat. Our brain is designed to put us in a safer zone. So आप देखोगे जब भी आपको अगर कभी जिम भी जाना है तो brain will be like नहीं जाना छोड़, we don't want to do this, because brain is always there to comfort you. It is not there to just put you out there. So because that safety zone comes when somebody is throwing something at you in terms of words, the brain protects you, and it either mellows down or it completely goes into a rebel mode, in a survival mode, which is why a personality eventually that they have grabbed gradually, not realizing, either they would become a self-criticizer themselves or they would completely go quiet.
Okay. Yes, so how learning emotional intelligence will help any person?
See, emotional intelligence is basically getting hold of your emotions. We have something called metacognition in neuroscience. What does that mean? Is being aware about your thoughts. When you know what you are thinking, you are able to control that. How you can control is regulating your thoughts. So when something happens or when you want to speak about something, you learn to pause. You think about that thoughts, that whether it is aligning with me, whether am I getting anything out of it, whether being reactive is going to be a helpful task. Usually reaction comes from a very enforced, very unhealed version of yours, or reaction comes because you're just not thinking responsibly and it is just coming out. So regulating your thoughts like that while you are paused, that helps to respond. And when you respond, when you choose to respond, the other person is taking it in a very positive zone, even if that person is being negative towards you. There are so many other skills and techniques which helps you, which is grounding, breath work. There are variations of breath work. There are different kind of techniques. Journaling also helps. Aligning with your thoughts, conscious living. There is a lot of different type of content that you tell yourself. So be the right narrative to your own self. What you are talking to yourself, honestly, that matters. What kind of content you are feeding yourself. So this is an overall way how you can work on your emotional intelligence. But it is one of the most powerful way you can control anything that is happening around you, because you choose to respond and not react.
And why naming emotion help?
When you name an emotion, it breaks the strength of that emotion. So if I'm crying and I'm really overwhelmed, when I'm crying and when I'm overwhelmed, and I ask myself, what am I doing? I am crying. If I just say, pata nahi kya hua hai, when you name an emotion, it breaks down its strength. And that is the reason. So practically, your brain is noticing that emotion because you have named it. And when the strength is broken down, you're able to deal with that properly. So yeah, that's the reason it's important to name your emotions. And then you become conscious about it, that what is actually happening to me.
Okay. So Nehal, nowadays people talk a lot about setting boundaries in the relationship. What are these boundaries actually?
See, boundaries, it has to be to do with your values or your self-respect. When we talk about boundaries, it is not that मैं ऐसा ही करूँगी, मैं वैसा ही करूँगी, not those strict ones. It should support your values. It should support being reasonable. So for example, if somebody is saying that you have to do work, this is where an impactful order is given. That is not supporting the other person's value. But can we do this together? That is valuing a person. That does not need a boundary. So that is what boundary is.
And what do you suggest people before going into any relationship, especially about marriage or any kind of a romantic relationship? What are some must have emotions or some clarity about yourself before going into a relationship?
See, one should be very much self-aware. First thing that I always speak to my clients or somebody, that you have to learn to be extremely honest to your own self. I feel that self-discipline of replying to yourself of who you are, what you want, is extremely important. We tend to defend ourselves in our heads we do not narrate a right thing to ourselves. So first thing goes wrong itself because you are not sure about your own self, and then you tend to expect from somebody else, whereas you are not aware about your own conscious thought. So intentional living is very important, where you know what are your intentions towards any act or anything that you do. So that is very important. And third thing is your background, what you are as a personality, where you come from, what is your environment, what is it that you as today are. That is very important. So once you're sure about what personality you become overall, and then you enter a relationship, you know who you are, you know what you are showing. There is no pretense, there is no mask. So the confidence, the understanding towards your own self itself puts you in a very calmer position when you go there, and it's a comfort place to be in. That person itself understands the vibe. So if it matches, great.
Okay. And is this the only reason because of which manifesting a relationship is little difficult than manifesting a wealth or your health or any other aspect of life?
See, honestly speaking, I do not see manifesting relationship or anything is easier as it is. Because manifestation as a word itself, it's been so much out there that people think isko main repetitive karunga. There's so many methods out there for manifestation. First, most important thing is how much you really believe in that particular process, person, or whatever you're asking for. Because I have seen so many people, they want to manifest money. Once it's gotten, they want to manifest something else. So the needs are unlimited. What you really want, is that actually what you want? This is first thing. Second thing, when you are actually believing in manifestation, it is important, it's that aligning with the thought process of what you want. So sometimes people say, I want a very good relationship, somebody who loves me a lot and stuff like that. Going further, when that happens, अरे लेकिन उसके पास तो पैसे भी नहीं है. You see what I'm saying? That do you know that जिसके लिए ये manifestation किया था, तुमको ये actually चाहिए था? So first, knowing yourself, understanding who you are. As I told you, it's very important to know who you are. Then you put a step forward, whether it is towards relationship manifestation, going for your work, going for your career, or any kind of goals. That is most important part of it.
See, many people think that, okay, I want this, I want to be like this, and so many wants and needs and goals. But I think belief system is the one that overrides everything.
Yes, absolutely.
So why belief has so much of strength?
See, there's a long process to this, which I would just try to squeeze and explain it to you. When you actually believe in something, it is kind of you're manifesting something, because your intention, your want is so strong. Everything works on a frequency. In wherever world we talk, we work on energy and frequency. When your belief system is so much strong, that is attracting the energy. That's the exchange of energy with something that you are really wanting or you are believing in. When that happens, it's sort of exchange of it. The frequency is matching there, which is why when you believe in something, it happens, where it leads to manifestation in another areas of it. So believing in something, for example, somebody asked me the other day, how do you believe that there is God? I don't know there is God or not. I believe in some higher power or universe. But that faith and belief gives me so much of strength because I am so strong about it. My energy aligning that thought of believing in higher power is so strong that my frequency matches. Now if something is happening, acha chalo ye, thank God that higher power helped, thank God universe is helping, because there is that power exchange of energy is giving. Thus belief is so strong.
So how negativity impacts your life? Negativity as in speaking negative words or thinking negative thoughts,
right?
Or in general negative vibes, we say.
Right. There is a little more explanation to this. See, we are surrounded by water. 70% of earth is water. Our body is having water as well. And if you see in Hindu religion, if you sit for puja and all, we take water. Water is something which works on frequency and it grabs the energy. Now, spiritually it is believed that water has a lot of impact of whatever negative you say. And in science, it is researched by the scientists that 2 glasses of water have been kept. And when 1 glass of the water has been given words like, ugly, horrible, sad, stupid, and the other glass of a water was given words like happy, beautiful, and all of that, those water were kept aside. After the same amount of time, when they were seen, the chemical formula of this water, which was negative, had changed. And this was just as it is. What does that say is that even water is grabbing your energy of how negative is impacting it. The same way, say, if you're saying those words, your body is full of water. It is taking that negativity. So when you have that vibes in you, when you have that energy in you, it is going to come out in the same way. Which is why negative frequency is going to attract a negative frequency. So if it's like a radio station. If you're ranging in the frequency of, say, 91 point something, it is going to attract that 91 something only, because that's the frequency you are vibrating on. Your water, your body, so every cells of your body which is covered by water and surrounded by water, it is grabbing that negativity that you're feeling, that you're speaking. Which is why it's very important what content you're hearing. We've heard that you should not speak bad, you should not hear bad, you should not look at the things which is bad, because of this. Because then you're taking all the negative impact within you, within your cells, within your system. And then you say, मेरे साथ ऐसा कैसे हुआ? ये इसलिए हुआ because you already were holding that negative energy. Thus, it is very important to be conscious and aware that how much is required to take in.
Okay. And why it is told that, before going to sleep, you should not watch a content which can excites you, or a negative content or so. How does that few minutes or few hours before sleep impacts a lot?
Before you sleep, so there is a circadian rhythm. We all are being animals. We sleep when the start getting darker. Our system starts getting slower, digestion starts getting slower, our body starts calming down. That's the time subconscious mind is awake. That's the time when it is highly awake. Now, while going to bed, if you're watching screens or if you're seeing any content which you shouldn't be watching, the subconscious mind is absorbing it. And when it's absorbing it, you will not even realize it will come and relate, or it will get cluttered with some other thoughts when you are sleeping. That is why early morning and sleeping time is very, very important, because that's when your subconscious mind is very active. Thus, even if you want to manifest, you should do that. I don't know if you've heard of Brahm Muhurat and stuff like that. So Brahm Muhurat is the time which is in between. Now, say for example, you're sleeping at 12 o'clock. That's the time, 4 o'clock, when Brahm Muhurat. Why Brahm Muhurat is because this is the time when the brain and the subconscious mind has done their job. The filtration of your body is done, your digestion is done, whatever the organs had to work, that has been done, right? But uske baad, the subconscious mind is activated, and that data that you have fed in the brain, in the night, that is there. And what brain actually does now, imagine a brain has this much of a system. उसने सारा data gather कर लिया है. अब उसको filter तो करना पड़ेगा उस thought को. You cannot just have it. That's the time when you're sleeping, the brain filters the data. So if you've just put something which is thrilling, it will hold on to that thought, because now they have to go past it. What were your intentions? So उसके साथ वो frequency के साथ क्या होता है? Everything brain works in the night. Which is why it is said that, why watch. And there are other scientific reasons that if you watch screens and stuff, the eyes and all, the radiation and all is not good. That is, of course, there is a science side to it as well. But this is the side, spiritually and scientifically, psychologically, it's understood.
So you are dealing with a lot of your clients. You must have met a lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
How particular personality is created in a person?
I feel they are shaped from the choices they make, the kind of parenting they've had, the kind of childhood they've had. When they've been in their mother's womb, what have they faced, what the mother has faced, the kind of experiences they've had it in your life. And after all of that, what finally they have realized and become, and what are they wanting. That shapes their entire personality. When they come to me, they come as an individual who is not aware of all of that. They've just become. And certain patterns are repeated, certain ways they work the way they work, and they're sometimes not satisfied and they do not realize where is this coming from. Some of the client I've also seen that they've seen something in their parent that they don't want, but they have imbibed that in them. And they think that ये तो मुझे कभी चाहिए ही नहीं था. I've seen this and I didn't want it this trait. But that is because they have absorbed it so much. There's so many things in the past that has happened to them where their present is getting affected.
Okay.
And I feel if that is not changed, it can lead into generations through your DNA and other traits.
Maybe around 10 years ago, I found that my personality is of INFP.
Okay.
So if I give that test again, do you think my personality would be different, or
It depends if you see, again, people change.
Okay.
People want different things after certain times. If they don't change, maybe only certain percentage would change. But what you want in your life, what are the changes you have brought? What are your intentions that has changed? Your experiences have been different. Then yes, it would change. But if you have been the same person, you've not been aware and you're okay with that and you're still dealing like that, which many of us actually think that we are okay, हमें कोई ऐसा कुछ problem नहीं है. तो problem जैसा कुछ होता ही नहीं है. Every personality is a good personality. We might have different kind of experiences in life and we become different personality. But if you don't change for your own betterment and your own understanding, then you would remain the same. So I think then the test would come up probably the same.
Okay.
So yeah.
And how does practicing this CBT or REBT actually helps?
This is my personal belief out of my profession. I personally feel if you believe in it, do it. If you don't believe in it, don't do it. Because it will not help. Anything, any change, any action or any activity that you're getting involved, if you believe in it strongly, if you want to experience it strongly, you have to give your intentions to it. So बहुत सारे ऐसे processes हैं. किसी के लिए कुछ work करता है, किसी के लिए कुछ work करता है. So it depends actually that what you are actually connecting with. That matters.
Okay. So how parenting actually affects a personality?
A lot. A major role as well, I would say. That parents are the first teachers that we have. So from them, the child always observes and learns. Then what they teach, of course, what they teach, a child learns. But whatever they are, you absorb from them after observing that. But I have always also seen that all of us, which I don't know if many of us would agree with me or not, all of us have a parenting trauma. No parents have been ever perfect. Most of them tried their best to give their bringing, but they are still trying. So they do not have a book that, oh, this is the best way of parenting. There is no syllabus to it. So what all of us become eventually is a traumatic experience from what parents we get. And we think, okay, this is what I've got. There's so many other things to be feeling gratitude about, that we've had a roof, we've had many things that probably other parent could not unfortunately provide. So that traumatic experience has been dramatized a lot. This is my opinion and what I have observed. Of course, it has created a personality which is sometimes not wanted, or sometimes it has damaged you so much, but it has not been intentional most of the time. Most of the time parents have tried. Either a father might not be available for you because that person is busy earning, bringing the food, because his experience probably in the childhood, this is probabilities, in the childhood has been that, oh, hamare liye 2 waqt khane ki roti bhi nahi thi. So his way of loving is providing the food. Maybe a mother who is not educated, to uske piche yahi hai ki bas padho, and that has become some traumatizing thing for a child. But because she's probably faced an uneducated background and the consequences for that, her love language is, no, I want my kids to study. So there's so many wide areas, and most of us have that parenting traumas. But I feel that is sort of understandable, which I think everybody should understand.